Hello, my name is Tony Kennedy. This is talking about nearly 50 years ago when I was with the Verona Fathers as a novice in Sunningdale. The place is full of memories. One of the strongest memories is of an old gentleman who used to speak to us after Mass outside this church. He said, "Do you know, Tony, when you're 20, you think you know it all. Then when you get to 30, you do know it all. And by the time you get to 40, you realise you have a few doubts about what you know. And when you get to 50, you feel you've been a bit of a fool. And by the time you get to 60, you realise how big a fool you are." Ha! It's funny how this remains as a memory above many others. This is the Wentworth Golf Club, famous all over the world. We used to stroll around here in our cassocks. And this is a picture of the novitiate, which used to be an old stables. And this was sent to me, this photograph, in early 1964 by a brother Foss, who I never quite remember who he was. But he was there and I was still in Murfield. And this is his card, dated the 1st of January 1964. "Dear Tony, many thanks for your letter, which I was very pleased to receive. Sorry I've taken so long to reply, but you will be surprised to know how little time we get for writing letters, honestly. Hurry up and come down here, for we are waiting for you. Best wishes for the new year and for the A-levels. God bless, Brother Foss." If anybody knows who he is, please let me know. Here is a side picture from a postcard sent by me to my parents in 1964. Dated the 27th of August 1964 on Wednesday, 7:15 p.m. "Dear Mum and Dad, settling down here well now. I think this card gives a good view of part of the college. It's really roasting here. Been the same for a while now. We've been to Windsor Castle twice already. It is very big and majestic. The Queen is resident there now. We've also sat on the grass watching the guards changing, dressed in their bright red uniforms, and listened to some others playing music. Windsor Park is lovely. We've also seen Ascot Racecourse with its new stand. We've just been picking a few of the many red apples growing in the garden. Yesterday we were picking spuds. Much of our day is taken up by reading spiritual books and making meditations. It's no burden though. I've seen a few squirrels running round the trees. The food is smashing. A retreat begins Saturday night, 8 days. Could you send me my insurance card? We'll write after the retreat. The lads are great. Lots of love, Tony." These are some of the heavy gang, the lads I was with. And let's see, top left, Dennis Sharkey, John McGinty, I'm not sure who that is. Next to him, Harry Gregg, who died, God rest him, at the age of 40. And next to him on the extreme right, Clem Bernard Lawton. In the front on the left, McCullough, who became the priest. And then Vivian O'Hara, then I don't know one on the extreme right. They're all here in their shining cassocks, not long professed, I think, into the religious life. And this is me by the side of the old chapel with the new, looking very fresh and youthful. My job was to lead all the prayers. At one time I got tired of saying the same old words for the rosary, so instead of saying the resurrection, I said Jesus rises from the dead. Instead of saying the ascension, I said Jesus goes up into heaven. And Father Zernoli, the novice master, came from behind and he said, "What is this, brother? What are you doing?" Haha, a long time ago. And these are my two brothers who came to visit me, John Kennedy on the left and Peter Kennedy on the right, looking a bit with a Beatle haircut, as it was 1964, maybe 65. But I used to love it round here. This is the Magna Carta Memorial by the Thames, where the barons met the king for their rights. And here we're in Windsor Castle with John and Peter. When you're from the industrial north of England, these places are charming. And this is somewhere in the middle of London with John and me. I was only about 19, maybe 20, in the flush of youth. This is by Tower Bridge. I don't know how we travelled around, but it was quite wonderful. And this is the Air Force Memorial with all the names of the people who died in the Air Force. Very moving. I think it's in Bow Bells. John Kennedy, President Kennedy, died about 2 years before. This is our John Kennedy here now. We walked into Heathrow Airport and I remember distinctly walking up and down the plane with nobody stopping us. It was very little security in those days. Here's a play we did about the war in Sunningdale. I think John Gordon Jones was the producer. We also played the Mikado and I was one of the 3 little girls. We had a great time doing that. I'm not sure, this could be a photograph of 1968, by which time I'd left. Dermot Lamb is on the left and I think a Neeson is on the right. Just a note about the small penances we used to do during Lent. We picked them to do before the meal, so you might say your grace kneeling on the floor with hands outstretched, or do the wash up, or kiss somebody's feet. I always used to kiss Monsignor Cave's feet. He had been the chief police in the Sudan and he always got embarrassed, so that's why I got a great pleasure in doing that. Just a remembrance of Father Mancrini, our ethics teacher. We were all there half asleep and he said to us that a girl could allow a boy to touch her breasts if she thought that he would marry her. And we all just stared at Father Mancrini, who was already red in the face, and we just went, whoo, whoo. That was very funny. Yeah, there was a lot of things. People used to say, some of the people in Italy, the Verona fathers, used to colour the water of the bath so they couldn't see the bodies. There was this total hang-up about sex, and sometimes you went on the toilet and you saw a towel covering the mirror so nobody could see their private parts. Very funny. I think this photograph is put in by mistake. It's outside Buckingham Palace, but it looks like this is a trip of the boys from Murfield down in London, because there's many familiar faces here, including Father Cerasoli. I'm somewhere on the right with glasses on. The other boys might be, it was McKelvey on the extreme left. There's a lot of these boys, some of them Dermot Lamb went on to Sunningdale. This is a group of First Communion children, and that's me on the left. This was at Englefield Green. There's a girl, third from the left, including myself, Joanne Lydiard. She was only 5 when she took her First Communion, but this was one of the tasks we had to help us to escape and open up to the world a little bit. Don't know the name of the convent in Englefield Green. And finally we come to the station in Sunningdale where I took my final departure in 1966. There was a delay with the train because Winston Churchill's train was going through the station on his way after dying to have a state funeral in London. I just want to finish this by recalling a Spanish lady who was a great help to me. She was married to a divorced man in Sunningdale, and she couldn't go to communion because he was divorced. But she said, God presses hard, but he never presses to break. I went home to have a rest in 1966 and did not return. Thanks for the memories.